As we mentioned in previous videos, liquor liability is not a luxury expense for your restaurant, bar, or tavern, though not technically necessary to operate. If you care about the sustainability and longevity of your establishment, you absolutely need to have liquor liability insurance. It is often the largest exposure outside of maybe fire from your kitchen that you have as a restaurant, bar, or tavern owner. So how much does liquor liability cost? Well, it ranges, and there are four main factors that play a role in how much you're going to pay for liquor liability insurance. The first is the type of venue. Is it a fine dining establishment? Is it an after-hours bar or tavern where people are hooping it up till 4 a.m.? How your business operates and the type of venue it is plays a major role in what your liquor liability exposure is going to be. If your establishment is shut down by 10:30, primarily only sells wine, and is a seated fine dining establishment, the liquor liability exposure isn't nearly as much if you're partying to a live band till 4 a.m. Neither is wrong. It's just creating a different exposure, and oftentimes that 4 a.m. Partying with the band establishment is going to pay more for liquor liability. The second is the location of the venue: suburban, rural, urban, the type of neighborhood, the crime in the neighborhood, the setup of the neighborhood, the laws of the region of the neighborhood. These are all going to play a role in liquor liability exposure. The third is liquor as a percentage of total sales for the establishment. If your liquor sales are 75% of your revenue, that is a much higher exposure than an establishment where liquor is only 20%. And by liquor, I mean alcohol sales in total, not just hard booze. The fourth and final factor that plays a role in how much you're going to pay for liquor liability is the actual risk itself. So your particular specific establishment. How well is it maintained? What type of process and procedures do you have in place for alcohol sales? Do you have bartenders that have taken taps? What is the experience of your bartending or alcohol serving staff? How involved is ownership? What is the experience of ownership? Do you have bouncers? All these factors play a role in your specific risk, and the more controls you have on the process and the more refined you are with your alcohol policies, oftentimes the better pricing that you're going to be able to get from that carrier. Now, in that instance, working with an insurance agent like Rogue Risk, who's going to take a hard look into your business, maybe ask some tough questions, but ultimately what we're trying to do is dig out a good story to tell about your establishment to an underwriter so that they feel more comfortable with better pricing. Now, the last thing that I will say about pricing in general is that there's two ways to purchase a policy. You can get a standalone liquor liability insurance policy, or you can have liquor liability included with your package, with the commercial general liability and property that you have for your business. And oftentimes my recommendation is to include the liquor liability insurance, if possible, with your other coverages. And the reason for that is if you have a loss, you want to work with the same claims adjuster, because you may have exposures. You may have parts of a claim may come from maybe some commercial general liability exposure. You may have some property exposure if something gets burned down or damaged, and then you may have some liquor exposure, and you want to be working with the same claims adjuster if that happens. And oftentimes liquor liability packaged in with the other coverages will be less expensive than if you buy it standalone. Now, there are incidents and types of businesses where standalone liquor liability is the only option, and if that's the case, then you got to do what you got to do. But all of these things can be answered and handled if you give us a call, 518-960-6600. We're happy to answer all your questions, talk through your business, and find you a package policy that includes liquor liability that fits the type of coverage that you need at the price point that you can afford. Thank you, and we look forward to working with you.